Hello, I'm Game Retainer, and in this video I've put together a guide on biome progression in 7 days to die. I made one of these a while ago, but the fun pimps have made some big changes, so it's time to do another one. I'll be covering how to get each of the badges as quickly as possible, so let's just jump straight in. Let's quickly go over some of the things you should know about biome progression. First is that you won't have access to any of the biome progression challenges until you've completed Basics of Survival, so get that done first. Version 2.3b9 now gives you the same amount of time in each biome, no matter which biome you enter, without any protection. Prior to this update, you had to unlock each badge in order, but now you can do them in whatever order you like, and you will get 3 minutes by default in each of the biomes. If you're playing with friends, you don't all need to unlock the biome badges or biome gear. Instead, if one person unlocks it, they can craft it and drop the gear, and another player can wear it and take it into the biome with no problems. By default, if you die, you will actually drop your biome gear. So when you respawn, as you can see on my screen now, I've got the countdown for radiation sickness. And this is the same for all biomes. You will drop every single piece of the gear, so you won't have any biome protection. The best thing to do is to really quickly run and pick it up again. You can just head to the game settings and change drop on death to nothing, and then you won't drop anything. Next is that the biome consumables stack up to 3, and as you can see on the screen, I've now got a total of 14 minutes to make my way around the desert, which is quite nice. The last thing I want to mention is that Master Chef does reduce the cost of crafting, but it's not really worth it because the only thing it makes cheaper is the first ingredient. Maxed out, you save 2 yucca when crafting Fallout Flush, which is just not worth the skill points. You will make it considerably faster though, so there is that. Now that we've covered some things you should know about biome progression, let's get into the challenges. The challenges are pretty similar for each biome. The first challenge for each of the biome is to find shelter. Completing this is easy, just head inside any POI basically. As long as you have some protection from the elements, that challenge is complete. Next, you'll need to harvest 5 of a particular resource within each of the biomes. You'll need to find mushrooms in the burnt forest, aloe in the desert, blueberries in the snow biome, and radiated mushrooms in the wasteland. It might be worth investing at least 1 point in living off the land, because it doubles the amount of crops you harvest. Finding aloe and blueberries is quite easy, but it can be tricky to spot mushrooms and radiated mushrooms. So look for grass patches, as they tend to spawn most often around there. And once you've found one, look nearby because they tend to spawn in clumps. A couple more things about mushrooms is that radiated mushrooms are easier to spot at night time. However, the wasteland is more dangerous at night time, so maybe scratch that. There are also a few POIs where you can get both mushrooms and radiated mushrooms. For regular mushrooms, keep an eye out for Mushroom Mining Company, obviously, and Judy Witch. For some reason, you can find a radiated mushroom in Carsgood Caverns. You'll also find plenty of radiated mushrooms and a few regular mushrooms inside Area 7, but in all honesty, it's just easier to go to the wasteland. Now it's time to craft the buffs. I don't think I need to show you how to get water and plant fibers, and I've already covered mushrooms, but as for coal, you can break down trees in the burnt forest and you'll get a reasonable amount of coal. Or at least enough to craft the serum. There are also coal nodes, but these are most common in the snow biome. To craft Sunstroke Tonic, you'll need 5 oil shale. These are abundant in the desert. If you're having a hard time spotting shale nodes, then open up your map and look for these purple dots. Crafting Scorcher's Stew can be a little time consuming. These are the blueberries, and they're pretty easy to spot, especially against the white backdrop of the snow. Animals are pretty easy to come by for meat in the snow biome. Just be sure to use some type of knife to get the maximum amount of resources back when harvesting. When it comes to getting the can of chili, you're kinda relying on luck, because you can't craft it. You will find it in vending machines relatively often, and there's a chance that Trader Rect will sell them from time to time. All of the traders do have a chance of stocking it, but Trader Rect is a little bit higher because he's the food and seed specialist. As for beer, make sure you look in vending machines, check out bars and places where you would expect to find beer, and again, trader inventories. You can also craft beer, but only after you've read 27 Cooking Weekly magazines. Fallout Flush is the most resource intensive buff to craft for biomes. You'll need yucca, you can find this in the desert. You'll see there's yucca plants, and also cacti that do have yucca inside as well. You can find super corn inside Bob's Balls and Carl's Corn. There's some on the second floor. Make sure you grab the super corn recipe and seeds. And there's also a couple of pieces in the basement. Also, once you reach the high enough game stage, Trader Rect will start selling super corn. As for acid, you are kind of relying on luck a little bit. You may find it in Trader Jen's inventory because it comes under medical gear. One good place to look is inside broken chemistry stations, because there is a chance that you'll find some. You do have a small chance of finding it in various loot containers, but what you really want is to find Wasteland Treasures Volume 3. After you've read this book, you'll gain a chance to harvest acid from cars, medical equipment, and acid barrels. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the enemies we need to kill for the challenges. For the Burnt Forest, you'll need to kill 5 burn victims. There are several variants of burn victim, with the weakest one being on the left, and arguably the toughest one being on the right, although the blue one is also pretty difficult to deal with. These are usually pretty easy to kill, but the ones that are on fire can actually set you on fire. On top of killing 5 burn victims, you'll need to kill 5 regular zombies. What I mean by regular zombies, 5 zombies that just aren't burn victims. For each biome, you'll have to kill 5 more regular enemies than the previous biome, so just keep that in mind. Something else to note is that regular animals like boars and deer don't actually count towards killing zombies in a particular biome. However, if it's an undead animal, then that counts. Moving on to the desert, you'll need to kill 5 desert plague spitters. These are just a pain in the ass in my opinion. Thankfully, they're no longer partially invisible, which is very nice. While they don't cause a lot of damage per hit, they do have the ability to spawn in a swarm of insects, which will slow you down and can cause a whole host of injuries. These insects are almost immune to ranged attacks, so take them down with melee weapons. Moving on to the snow, you'll need to find and kill 5 Frostclaws. These are pretty tanky. They do hit hard, and they have a ranged attack that can be pretty deadly. They have the ability to throw a boulder, and they can throw it pretty far. Not only does this cause a lot of damage to you, but it also does a lot of block damage as well, so be careful with that. For the Wasteland, you'll need to kill 5 mutated zombies. These have a power attack that can be surprisingly deadly. Mutated zombies have the ability to release these weird green radiation balls that cause quite a lot of damage. They also make your screen go funny, which can be quite difficult, especially if you're trying to clear a lot of zombies. Moving on, you'll need to go mining. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the basics about mining, instead I'll just link to a video that I've done right up there. But I will just quickly show you what each node looks like on the map. For the Burnt Forest, you'll need to mine at 250 lead. That's what a deposit looks like above ground, and they appear as white dots on the map. I've already shown you oil shale, but there you go again, and as mentioned, they pop up as little purple dots on the map. That's coal, that's what you'll need to get in the snow biome. They pop up as little black dots on the map. Finally, for the wasteland, you'll need to mine lead. Lead appears as little blue dots on the map. The final challenge is to craft the biome gear. With the exception of one resource, all the items required are the same for each biome, but I'll go through them real quick. You'll need 1 armor crafting kit, 20 scrap polymers, 20 cloth fragment, and 10 leather, and that's for each of the different gear types. You can make armor crafting kits by combining armor parts, sewing kits, and duct tape. You can get scrap polymer by breaking down cars or breaking blinds. There's loads of places to get scrap polymer. The same for cloth. Curtains, cars, there's lots of stuff. You can get leather by skinning animals. You can also get leather and cloth from various clothing piles. As for the different resource, you'll need 50 coal to make smoke gear, 2 lenses for desert gear, 50 cotton for snow gear, and 10 forged steel for radiation gear. Since I've already covered how to get coal, and getting cotton is very easy, I'll just quickly go over how to get lenses and forge steel. You make lenses in a forge using clay and sand. You can also make forged steel in a forge, but you will need a crucible, which is a late game item. What you can do is break down things like street lights, gas pumps at petrol stations, these happy looking transformers, and a whole host of other items. It's also pretty common for traders to sell forged steel, but it will be quite pricey. Once you're holding all of the items needed to craft one of the Biome gear pieces, you'll unlock the recipe and you'll be able just to craft it in your inventory. There's no need for a workbench. So thank you very much for watching, I hope you found this video useful. I do have a Discord server, I'll put the link to that in a pinned comment below. If you want to join that, feel free, it's the best way to keep up to date with what's going on the channel. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.